So, good day, everybody. This is Mazes, okay, once more. Um, Actually, I just want to make an input into this confusion going on in Nigeria as we speak. This issue of cattle colony and the Fulani Headers Ruga settlement. Now, there is a confusion here where people are actually confused as to what that Ruga settlement is all about and what the Southerners can actually do, specifically the southeast Nigeria, where my interest lies most. So, to start with, the Ruga settlement is actually from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, which is intended to give certain locations to the headers in order to reduce the conflict that occur between the headers and farmers. Now, many people are actually saying that yes, the president actually that's an executive order. No, that's not correct. But the issue is that many of us are asleep. The former Minister of Agriculture, Ala-Igbo, who incidentally is from Benue, actually had this under him. He actually approved this, and this was meant to start. If we paid attention, sometime in May, I believe, that was when that actually kick-started. However, the challenge here is that the Benue people weren't alive entirely, or rather the public. I think the Benue government knew what was happening, but I think the public wasn't alive to its responsibility suddenly until there was a billboard that was erected, I think on Monday or Tuesday this week, and people started shouting, "Oh, these guys are coming, they're going to take over our land." And I think there is also one thing that is very clear here. The Benue, as we know it, because of the incident of 2017, where in January over 250 people were killed, land, houses destroyed overnight. So Benue actually has been working on a grazing law, which is not actually against ranches, but their issue is they do not want cattle wandering the street, which is sensible thing to do. So cows do not need to wander around in the streets. Cows they have to be somewhere, ranched properly. I mean, it beats me silly when I say this. It beats me silly and really silly to think in the 21st century we would want cows ravaging people's farm, just going, basically destroying farms. I would rather think that the best thing to do is that if you are in a cow business, okay, that you buy plots of land, or rather, acres or hectares of land. You wire gas them with, however you want to do your perimeter fence, but at least you put some protective to guide your cattle from going away, and probably chip your captors as well, because people do it. Each cattle could be implanted with chips, so that even when rustlers, when those cows got stolen, you can still trace these cows and recover them. You have the data. Cows can be microchipped. Now, in all this, actually, I do not know and understand why the practice is still going on, that people want to take cows maybe from Sokoto to Oyo, from Medugri to Anambra or Oka or Ebonyi. These things ought not to happen. Now, for today, my point actually is that we can do something. Now, in the southeast, we have what we call the vigilantes. The vigilantes, most times, these are individuals. They have their businesses. These are people like you and I, but who reside in the, in the localities that they are. Now, these people go to work. They are normal human beings like us, but at night, they have dedicated their time to go at night and, patrol our areas. So, and like in Anambra State, the state government has a law and they pay them. State government pay them and the community contributes something and pay. People like us, every year we give certain amount of money on our own volition, on our own, because we think it's the right thing to do. Now, my suggestion is, because of the vigilante are more active at night or in the evening, I am thinking that we have to go further than vigilante and have a different set of people that will be called the, I think, or personally, what I call them is forest guards. There are places in the southwest and the southeast that have a lot of forest. So these guys could actually be forest guard, could be people that during the day they will patrol the forests. And I think this shouldn't be an illegality. There should be laws backing them up, whereby, because these things happen within the state can actually make laws just the same way Anambra State have made laws guiding vigilantes, that they work hand in hand with the police. The same thing can happen in this case, that laws are made by the state government. The state government has to fund it because every state has security vote, and this is part of the security. So when we have these funds set out to basically get these things functioning, now on the part of us as individuals, that we probably will be taxed to contribute to this, because it's for our collective good and it's for our collective security. My suggestion would be, every single person who, say, if you live outside your state, if you're from Imo State or from Anambra, for instance, you live outside your state, say you pay 1,000 naira monthly for the forest guard and the vigilantes. If you live within the state, you pay, say, 500 naira every month for the protection and for the forest guards and the vigilantes. If you live, say, within the diaspora, many diasporans can comfortably pay 5,000 naira a month. And when you aggregate these funds could be channeled into, providing security. Because the way it is now, the state police is not forthcoming, and people shouldn't fold their arms to wait for state police to come. People should actually be proactive. Like I was saying, there is nothing is, more precarious and more prominent for us to pay for our security. And this is one thing we should consider, because everyone is basically seeking for just making noise. Everyone is complaining. But let us actually, for a while, keep calm, articulate a workable solution. I am for actionable solution. Now, the way it appears when people talk about the Fulanization, when people talk about the things that is happening, see, you cannot take it away. Everyone is afraid. The southwest, the middle belt, the southeast, the south. Now, it appears, and that is what makes it so, that the president appears not to be doing anything. And his body language somehow suggests that he is in line and is in tune with what is happening. And people are scared. And when people are scared, this thing is going to escalate. My fear, and I have to say this, my fear is that this doesn't escalate to a point where, we start losing life. I do not want to say a state where, to a stage where, it gets into probably something like an armed conflict. This could be nipped in the bud. We have the power. You and I, the states, have the power to nip this in the bud. Anambra State has, done some good things that every state should actually emulate. As regarding the vigilantes, at least, if you go for a occasion in Anambra State now, if you invite the police during let's say you're having a wedding ceremony or funeral, if you invite the police, there is every tendency that cars could be stolen. But if you engage the services of the vigilantes in Anambra State, you can be rest assured that nothing will go missing. Because why? Criminality is local. Now, that's why it beats me actually silly to think that someone who doesn't know your terrain so much will come in and be terrorizing you. We know that the youths, a lot of the youth have gone up from the villages into the town. We have to find a way to make staying back at home attractive. Many of us, many people who are well-to-do should start thinking about cottage industries, that they could establish home, that people have to be home. Because if everyone, runs away from home, eventually our villages will only be overrun. Because if they become empty, if they only have our aged grandparents, aged parents and siblings there, then there are no vibrant activities happening there at the end of the day. As it is with nature abhors vacuum. If you allow that vacuum to exist, someone else is going to occupy that. So it's not a time to come online and start throwing abuses to people. It is a time for us to come together, put our heads together, and find a lasting solution. What I have suggested with the forest guard is something that I've been thinking for a while, and I said, okay, let me put this idea out there and see what you think. I'm not saying it's the best idea, but I am a practical person. I want solutions. So my own solution to this is, as a complement to the vigilantes, let us equally have forest guard. While vigilantes take care of places, city, in the villages, like community centers, patrolling the communities, then we should have forest guard who are within the forest. States that have forest. Not every state have massive forest, right? We know the states that have forest. Those states that have forest should begin to think about forest guard, because sometimes, I'll give an example. One time one of my elder brother was kidnapped between Benin bypass, and they were taken into the deep forest. What that tells you is, if you had forest guard patrolling or patrolling those forests, these things wouldn't be happening. Why the vigilantes patrol like the Benin city, where people are, and the forest guard, their job should be to patrol, the forest. We can give them, many of us can give them like walkie-talkies, drones. I mean, these are drones. There are private drones that could be used. Some of these drones can, when charged up, they can use them for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They don't need to just go every single where. The drones can fly low. These drones cost about $150. Some of us can easily donate 10, 12 to 1, okay? But, somehow we must find a solution. This is not only left for the federal government to do. You and I must come together, put our heads together to find a solution. Once more, this is Mazezoke speaking. Well, do not be worried. I'm actually close to the Sambisa forest. As you can see, the forest behind me, just on a lighter note. Now, enjoy your weekend. This is Mazezoke. I will be bringing you more updates as they come. Thank you very much, and remain blessed.